The first thing you notice physically about this lady is her eyes. Bright, boxy eyes. It's rare you should see these eyes, because she only used these from 77 to 82, but when you do, it's worth it. The next thing you notice is her lines. Strong, powerful, yet feminine lines. But the real heartstopper this woman has in her galaxy of talents is her carbs. Her sporty, double Del Orto carbs. She's a legend in her lifetime. She's achieved almost 500,000 sold. She's the complete sports sedan. And she's the archetypical Alfa Romeo. The Alfetta entered the fray in 1972 as a brand new chassis design. She introduced the famous transaxle setup to street Alfas, which means that the gearbox and final drive are in a single unit and reside in the back to enhance weight distribution. This solution was previously used on the Alfetta Grand Prix race car in 1951, hence the name. Rear disc brakes were standard and built in board, while the suspension was a well-located Didion axle in the rear and double wishbones with torsion springs up front. All this facilitated excellent traction and handling. It was the perfect cops and robbers car, which is just as well if you think about Italy in the 1970s. Both the mafiosi and the carabinieri loved it, but as well as that, it also works on the racetrack. The reason there isn't that many tracks? Alfa also built a coupe version, the GTV, designed by Giorgetto Giugiaro. The Alfetta fits me quite well, don't you think? Look at all the airy cabin space around my talking head. It's light and roomy, and the seats are okay, so if you're looking for a cool sedan with attitude, you don't have to sacrifice comfort. The dashboard is a constant reminder of it being from a completely different era, as the main dials are mostly behind the beautiful steering wheel, the central, easiest to read instrument being the clock and the oil pressure. It's stylish, and that goes a long way. Not just the cockpit, but the whole driving experience feels its age, and that's a good thing. Some switches look haphazardly placed, but it's easy to get a grip on them, while the main controls are all well judged and rewarding to use. The only negative is the gear shift. First is sometimes problematic to come upon, especially when the car is hot after being pushed around the twisties, and throws are longer than one would imagine today. This, however, was quite the norm back then, and for me doesn't taint the package a bit. The chassis is so full of life and fun and communication, it's difficult to explain. Let me just say that going fast occupies all your senses in a good way. Turning balance is modulated not just by steering, but by the throttle too. A decidedly analog car then, you have to work to get speed out of it. And the noise it makes all the while? Just perfect. The Alfetta isn't quick by today's measure, but it feels sporting even when going slow. It's so balanced that a few modifications turn it into a competent track day weapon, not least because it only weighs 1100 kilograms. So a mildly tuned engine, stiffer suspension and a limited slip diff will get you all the giggles you ever wanted. I'm not saying this is the last word if you are into sporting classics that you can use daily, but one thing is certain. This Alfa does indeed have a special charm, an attitude like nothing else. And what are we looking for in cars, after all? Exactly that.